So, are we going to talk, or you're just going to keep playing with my balls?
This is a waste of time, Howard.
After a mass fatality, the state mandates that you and your colleagues come talk to me.
So I should feel flattered to go first?
Well, you are my most difficult nut. So tell me what happened 2 days ago.
You know what happened?
I know you found it a little difficult to do your job.
Well, it's never easy dealing with that many casualties.
Is that why you lashed out at Lily?
She had no right to undermine my authority.
Do you feel badly about the way you handled things?
I shouldn't have let it happen.
Guilt. Now, that's a very complicated emotion.
No, it's not. It's not that.
Then what is it?
The blast. I can still hear it.
People screaming, crying.
And yet, you still managed to stay calm in the middle of all that chaos.
I had a job to do. All of those grieving families were looking to me for comfort.
Looking back, I might have been a tad insensitive.
Regret. That's a very interesting emotion.
It wasn't that big a deal.
Oh? So it was just an ordinary day, is that it?
Nothing about that day was ordinary.
Bomb was planted on the tracks. The station was closed for construction, so no one was on the platform. The 9:30 train to Salem was passing through when the bomb went off.
The first couple cars took the brunt of it.
How many casualties?
We've got at least 20 dead, a lot more injured. Most of them have already been taken to the hospital.
Oh, my God.
Jewish day school, 5th grade field trip. Jordan, I need you to get back to the morgue right now. These kids' parents are going to start showing up any minute.
Yeah, they're gonna want answers.
Exactly.
I'll get the first grade bodies back from morgue, start the IDs.
Go. Dr. Macy, you remember Special Agent Green? You worked the plane crash with us last year.
It's good to go to gal in explosive situations.
I hear you and your team have worked bomb sites before.
We know what we're doing.
Good. Then you know any materials we find related to the bomb must be turned over to us immediately.
Anyone claiming responsibility?
Could be any number of extremist groups. We haven't determined whether or not the Jewish Day School was the target.
And Homeland Security had no warning this was going to happen?
Unfortunately, we were completely blindsided.
Bomb went off further down the tracks. We don't know the extent of the damage yet.
How long before another one goes off?
Bomb squad did a search of the area, 100 yards in each direction. Safe to continue recovery.
Let's get to it.
We shut down the airport and stepped up all police presence at all landmarks, federal buildings, temples, and mosques.
This is going to create widespread panic. People have a right to be scared. For all we know, there could be bombs planted all over the city.
I'll repeat if what happened in London.
That's what I'm afraid of, but we'll have a better idea what we're dealing with once we get a closer look at the bomb.
Where's my son?
I'm sorry, you cannot be back.
My son was on that train. Is that him? In that body bag? Please. I need to see him.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Please. It's not Charlie. Where's my son?
Hey, look at me, okay? Look at me. What's your name?
Allison. Allison Cohen.
I'm Jordan. Listen, some of the kids survived today. They were taken to Boston General. Maybe you should look for Charlie there.
Boston General?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I can't even imagine what she was going through. And not knowing if your son is alive or dead.
It must have been Very hard to focus on your work.
Oh. I did what needed to be done.
That sounded a little defensive.
I just resent people telling me how to do my job. I know how to make people feel better.
Can't be easy on a day like that.
That's the little things. Make coffee, tea, put out donuts.
Everybody likes donuts.
I used to, until I started working in a morgue. Look, those are for the families.
Oh, sorry your kid is dead. Here, have a donut.
Excuse me? My wife? She was on the train?
I'm Lily Lebowski. I'm a grief counselor here.
Jason Hartzman. Carrie was their teacher.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
I'm gonna need you to fill out this form. Just give us as much information as you can.
I told her not to go. She didn't listen. Her whole class.
I know how difficult this must be for you.
She was supposed to stop working a week ago. And get ready for the baby.
She was pregnant?
Due Wednesday.
Looks like sugar.
Silver flash powder packed into a galvanized steel pipe makes one hell of a bomb.
What kind of uses pipe bombs?
Yes, but this looks like a cheap digital timer, not very accurate. Most likely domestic.
Americans attacking Americans.
I think I found something that might be of interest to you people. End caps. Must have used more than one pipe to create the bomb. Based on the diameter, I'd say each pipe was at least 2 inches wide.
You know your stuff.
Well, I'd be happy to help out today if,
We've set up command on the platform.
We've enough to recreate the bomb?
Computer will fill in the blanks.
Nigel, you want to give me a hand? She's full term.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
She's the last one to help me get her into a body bag.
That doesn't make you want to down a bottle of scotch. I don't know what will.
I didn't take a drink. Are you saying I wanted to?
Don't tell me you weren't tempted.
Even if I was, I didn't take a drink.
Let's get this one into autopsy.
They don't need to see this. Allison?
Charlie wasn't at the hospital. He hates getting his picture taken. Every year for school photos, getting dressed up. But he did it anyway, because he knew it meant a lot to me.
Well, we'll do our best to make a photo ID. But if we can't, we'll need a sample of Charlie's DNA.
Oh, the hospital should still have a sample of his blood. He's been battling cancer for about 1.5 years, and just went into remission last month. I wasn't gonna let him go on this field trip, but he really wanted to. And, you know, I figured he'd missed so much school, and he didn't have that many friends.
You shouldn't be alone right now. Is there anybody I can call for you? Like Charlie's father?
No, he left us when Charlie was a baby. When Charlie was diagnosed with cancer, I promised him that we were gonna get through it together.
I'm so sorry.
He beat cancer. He beat it. I mean, why would God give him back to me only just to take him away like this?
Boy, I'd sure like to hear your answer to that one.
I didn't have one. Bad things happen. I stopped asking why a long time ago.
So how's your love life these days? Are you seeing anyone?
Are you asking me out, Howard?
I'll take that as a no. And what about your father? How's he doing?
I'm sorry, what does any of this have to do with the bombing?
I'm just making conversation.
You don't just make conversation.
We took statements from the transit workers on shift today. No one saw any suspicious activity.
Did you get anything off the surveillance footage?
Their system's more archaic than my grandmother's 8mm. It only captures one frame every 10 seconds.
There's plenty of time for someone to slip onto the tracks unnoticed.
Homeland Security is sending over their domestic terrorism watch list.
Hey, when I was reconstructing the bomb, I made an interesting discovery. The timer was faulty.
Do we get anything out of BATS?
No, it's still running.
Bats.
The Bomb and Arson Tracking System is the most comprehensive bomb database known to man.
Every time we find a new explosive device, we run it through the database to try to find a match.
So if our guy is a repeat offender...
He'll be in the system.
Looks like we have a virgin on our hands. First timer.
Homeland Security just sent this over, an anonymous letter claiming responsibility for today's bombing.
How do we know it's legitimate?
Trace amounts of silver flash matter on it.
Anything else on it?
No prints, no DNA, but according to this note, there's a third bomb out there. 3 bombs today. Homeland Security must do better to protect the people of this country from terrorists. Even 4 years after 9/11, we're still not safe.
He blows up a train full of kids to make a point. He's no better than Al-Qaeda.
And no clue where the third bomb is or even when it's going to go off.
Considering the first 2 bombs were in the transit system, it's likely the third one is as well, but at this point, I'm not ruling anything out.
We'll check and see if any other stations are under construction. Maybe that's how he's gaining access. With any luck, we'll be able to find that third bomb before it goes off. You're just gonna wait for me to say something, aren't you?
I'm just not as interesting as you are, am I?
All I can say is that there is no excuse for what happened.
Well, you don't actually think you could have prevented it, do you?
I should have tried harder.
From all accounts, on that day, you went above and beyond.
It wasn't enough.
Finally. That's the root of the problem.
Oh, that's her. That's Carrie.
Mr. Hartzman, is there anyone we can call for you?
No. Our family's been in Seattle. We're gonna come in next week. For the baby.
Did you have a name picked out for your son?
Not yet. Why?
I'm sorry to bring this up now, but we need a name for the fetal death certificate.
Carrie wanted to wait. Till we saw him.
I think he should see his son.
What are you talking about?
You have to remove the baby anyway. Why not let Mr. Hartzman see him?
That's a bad idea.
The baby is full term, Garrett.
That's not the point.
Yeah, he needs to see his son, to name him. It'll make the baby real for him. It'll help him deal with the loss.
His son is dead, Lily. He's never gonna get to know him. Seeing that baby will only make him feel worse.
You don't know that. Parents of stillborn children are encouraged to hold their babies. It's proven to help them grieve.
She is the grief counselor.
I wasn't trying to tell her how to do her job.
Then why the strong objection?
The man had just ID'd his dead pregnant wife. He didn't need to see that baby to understand what he'd lost.
You see this? You see this flat surface right here? That only happens if the train skids to a stop.
Someone pulled the emergency brake.
They must have seen something on the tracks and tried to stop the train.
Whoever pulled this cord is the closest thing we got to an eyewitness.
I mean, they didn't die in the crash.
Well, I've got a partial.
Good, let's get it to the morgue.
Some survivors are still being held at triage until we get their statements. We'll talk to them, see if anybody can tell us who pulled this cord.
Lou,
I can't do this.
what are you talking about?
I'm taking myself off the case.
What?
I'm sorry.
One shrink to another. I'd say we're dealing with a classic case of avoidance.
I'm not trying to avoid anything.
Avoidance and denial. This is worse than I thought. Now, it says here you took yourself off the case?
That's right.
Well, you've worked mass fatalities before. Was it the kids that got to you?
They got to everybody.
Yes, but you were the only one who ran away. Well, I read in your file that you moved here from Virginia. That's a beautiful state. Beautiful beaches. Why did you leave?
Boston PD made me a great offer.
Really? They just recruited you out of the blue?
I applied for the job.
Oh. I understand you were on the fast track in Virginia. One of the youngest detectives in your department. Why would you want to leave all that?
Personal reasons.
Mr. Hewitt, are you sure you didn't see anything on the tracks?
Why did you pull the emergency cord?
All those kids. Dead.
Some of the other passengers on the train identified you as the one who pulled the brake. Do you remember doing it?
Bomb went off. Pregnant lady was screaming. What happened to her?
She didn't make it. I'm sorry. Neil, let's get him to a hospital.
So much for that.
One of the transit workers back there said he saw a suspicious-looking guy hanging around the station last night.
Let's get a sketch artist down here.
Jordan, that kid you were looking for, Charlie Cohen, he's not here.
What do you mean?
I ran his DNA against all the kids in the morgue and double-checked at the hospital, too, and there's no sign of him.
He couldn't have just disappeared?
Well, how do we know he even got on the train in the first place?
We need to go through those personal belongings. Charlie's jacket.
So he was on the train.
Must have run off before the rescue teams arrived.
Some blood on it.
Charlie's out there somewhere and he's injured. We gotta find him. You should go home in case Charlie shows up there. I'll call you as soon as I know anything.
Thank you so much.
I promise you, we're gonna find your son. Okay?
Jordan, what the hell are you doing? It is not our job to find Charlie Cohen. Just leave it to the police.
Police are busy looking for terrorists. A missing 11-year-old boy is not going to be their top priority.
And it is not ours either. We have a crib full of kids that need to be autopsied.
And we will get to them.
We don't have time to go running off looking for some kid who probably doesn't even need our help. It was a difficult day. I was under a lot of stress.
Stress. There's that word again.
I'm not normally one to crack under pressure. I guess I've changed.
Why do you suppose that is?
Evolution. Nothing can stay the same forever. The Danius plexibus. The monarch butterfly. Its name literally means sleepy transformation. It spends half of its life as a caterpillar, with a limited view of the world.
But then, it turns into a beautiful butterfly.
And with the gift of flight, a whole new world opens up to it. It sees things, feels things it never knew existed before. But not all of it is good.
Can't change back into a caterpillar.
But I wonder if there are moments when it wishes that it could.
Nigel, we checked out miles of track, still no sign of the third bomb.
Any luck with that witness?
The guy she saw on the tracks turned out to be a construction worker. We've ruled him out as the suspect.
Get anything from those bomb fragments?
No DNA or prints. I did, however, find trace elements of lubricant on the blast caps.
Lubricant.
Yeah. See, the blast caps have to be screwed very, very delicately onto the ends of the pipe. Any kind of heat or friction, and boom, could go off in your hands.
Don't want that to happen.
Hence the lubricant. In this case, our bomber used petroleum, very specific kind of petroleum, only used in hydraulic microscopes.
Find out who has access to the microscopes. We make a list of suspects.
Once again, lubricant saves the day. She looked at me like I was an insensitive clod.
Federal agents tend to take their jobs very seriously.
Well, so do I. A lot of people died that day. I wasn't taking that lightly.
And yet you felt the need to make jokes.
Do you remember that episode of Mary Tyler Moore, the one where Chuckles the Clown died?
During a parade. He was dressed as a peanut, and he got trampled by elephants. Is that the one?
Exactly. The funeral was a somber affair. It was very serious. And right in the middle of it, Mary starts to laugh. And she tries to stop, but she can't help herself.
So what you're trying to say is you're Mary Tyler Moore.
When things get tense, I feel the need to try to lighten the mood.
There's nothing wrong with that. Humor is a perfectly healthy way to relieve stress. Well, I've been known to crack a joke or two myself on a rough day.
Yeah.
Did you hear the one about the two psychiatrists who passed each other in the hall? One guy says hello. The other guy thinks, I wonder what he meant by that.
You might want to work on your timing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Have you changed your mind about letting Mr. Hartzman see him?
No.
Garrett, he needs to see his son.
Has he asked to see him?
No, but
Leave it alone.
You're wrong about this.
Say, how's your daughter doing these days?
She's fine.
She's still in rehab?
Where are you going with this, Howard?
Well, you know, you once told me that after Abby was born, she spent several days in the NICU.
What are you, an elephant?
And I was just wondering, I mean, at that time, did you hold her? Did you bond with her?
What does this have to do with the Hartzman baby?
If you keep answering a question with a question, we're going to be here all day.
What do you want from me, Howard?
Well, A, that's another question. B, why didn't you hold your daughter?
I couldn't.
Why not?
I don't know. I think I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Like I said, I don't know.
Oh, yes, you do. What were you afraid of? Being a father? Getting too attached?
I was afraid she'd die too.
What do you mean, too? Who else died?
Abby's twin brother.
You had a son?
Yeah. He was a lot smaller than Abby, weighed less than 2 pounds, and died in about 6 hours. Maggie and I never told anyone, not even Abby.
Hey, Lou. Lou, what's going on? I left you like 3 messages. You okay?
I'm fine.
You seemed a little freaked out this morning.
I'm fine now.
All right, well, listen, if you ever want to talk about anything, I'm a pretty good listener.
Thanks. Thanks.
So you were still tracking down the bomber at that point?
Yeah.
And yet, you took time in the middle of all that to check on Detective Simmons?
It was a tough day. I was worried about her.
Are you two seeing one another?
Me and Lou? No.
Are you seeing anyone?
I don't know if you'd call it seeing each other.
What would you call it?
What's right in between frustrating and weird?
Sounds complicated. Anyone I know?
I tested the blood we found on Charlie's jacket. DNA's a match.
I found this in Charlie's pocket.
What is it?
Well, it's pretty water damaged, but you can still make out most of the words.
Looks like a poem.
Yeah. Gloom, angel of death, how fiercely you pursue me. From a proud tower in the town, death looks gigantically down.
Sounds familiar.
I can't really make out the rest of it. Hey, could you run this through the electrostatic machine? Try to restore the rest of the poem?
Sure.
Thanks.
I mean, on a day when so many innocent people were murdered, the Jordan Kavanaugh I know would have channeled all her energy into finding the person responsible.
It wasn't my job to find the bomber.
Well, it wasn't your job to look for Charlie Cohen either, and yet you made it your personal mission to do that. Now, why?
Well, he was hurt. He needed my help.
You think that was the only reason?
Green!
There are 5 hydraulic microscopes in Boston, 4 prominent universities, 1 at the Bayview Research Center.
How many people have access?
Over 3,000, but Nigel is cross-referencing those names with the list Homeland Security sent over.
Lucky for us, they keep tabs on certain bomb-making websites. People who visit those sites are automatically flagged. So we've got some possibilities.
Greg Hewitt. He's the one who pulled the emergency brake.
Are you sure you're up for this?
I'm sure. He's beautiful.
Yes. He is.
Isaac. His name is Isaac.
The son of Abraham. You know that story?
From the Bible? Sure. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his only son, Isaac.
So Abraham marches him up to the top of the mountain, he lays him down on the altar, and he's just about to slit his throat when God says, "Don't do it!"
Never understood that story. Just seems like God has a cruel sense of humor.
It was a test of faith.
Abraham was going to kill his only son. What kind of heartless person would do that?
It's not about being heartless. It's about putting your feelings aside to do what needs to be done.
I didn't cry that day. Not once.
People were depending on you. You had to be strong.
When I first started this job, I cried all the time. Seeing people in so much pain, my heart would break for them. That day, over 20 people died. Kids. A baby. I watched Mr. Hartzman hold his dead son, and I could muster up a few tears. What's wrong with me?
Greg Hewitt's a grad student at Harvard. Squeaky clean, not even a parking ticket.
No wonder he never showed up on our radar. Keep digging. I want to know everything there is to know about this guy.
Oh, damn it. Hewitt's gone. He checked himself out of the hospital an hour ago.
City's in lockdown. He won't get far.
I'll put out an APB and get a warrant for his place.
Hey, guys, you might want to take a look at this. Hewitt's wife was killed in the London bombings last year. They were on their honeymoon.
His note said he didn't feel safe.
Now we know why.
Yeah, Charlie Cohen. He was reported missing a couple hours ago. Yes, I know there was a bombing this morning. This kid was actually injured in it. Yeah, well, thanks for nothing. Hey, Bug, any luck with that poem?
Yeah, that line that sounded familiar from a proud tower in the town, death looks gigantically down. It's a quote from Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, somebody was paying attention to English lit.
I looked it up on the internet. But I found something else on the paper. Chlorine with traces of copper.
Like pipes?
Yeah, but I also found traces of lead and nickel.
Like coins in a fountain?
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe that's where Charlie goes to write his poetry. Are there any public fountains in his home or school?
On a day like today, that'd be a good place to go and find some solace.
And inspiration on Cambridge Court. There's a fountain right by the building where Edgar Allan Poe was born.
Hewitt hasn't been back here. We need to set up roadblocks within a 100-mile radius. We can't let this guy get out of the city.
I got something. Blueprints of the entire transit system. There are bombs near Stockton Station. Let's go!
Stay back! Get the bomb now!
Don't shoot! Enough people have died today, Hewitt. Just step away.
It's gonna go off in less than 2 minutes. I gotta disarm it.
Disarm it.
Clear the tunnel now!
Stay back!
Okay, we're just gonna talk. All right? I'm putting my gun down.
Point!
I know why you're doing this. I know what happened to your wife, and I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to hurt anybody. Just the tracks, not the train.
The timer didn't work. The bomb went off when it wasn't supposed to.
I panicked. I tried to stop it.
That's why you pulled the emergency brake.
Too late. The train hit the bomb. All those kids.
We gotta get out of here.
Okay. It's okay. Just come with us.
You got 45 seconds. Just go. It's too late.
I'm not leaving you down here.
Point!
It's too late.
Go!
I should have been able to save him.
The man was responsible for the deaths of over 20 human beings. Most people would probably say he got what he deserved.
Yeah, I guess.
Did you feel sorry for him?
How could I? He was a bad guy, right?
You feel guilty because you couldn't save him?
I feel guilty about a lot of things.
Hannah, she was 10 when my sister had another baby. And Hannah was feeling kind of neglected. So I decided that I was going to take her to the mall. You know, just the two of us, girls' day out. We bought new clothes and we went to the movies and we ate junk food. We were about 5 blocks from the house when the car hit us. And she, died right in front of me.
I'm so sorry.
My sister never blamed me. I'm sorry, but every time I saw her, that's why I moved here. When I saw that little girl, she just, the braids, they were just like, Anna, I'm really sorry.
It's okay. Come here. It's okay.
Charlie? Charlie, you okay? Hey, I'm Jordan. Mind if I look at your cut? I'm a doctor. Okay. Hey, it's not too bad. Are you hurt anywhere else? No? Good.
Does my mom know I'm here?
Yeah, she's on her way.
Why'd you tell her?
She's not mad at you, Charlie. She just wants you to come home.
Should have died in that train.
Don't say that.
Would have been better that way.
Your mom loves you more than anything. Do you know how lucky you are to have somebody like that in your life?
When I was sick, my mom would cry every day. She tried to hide it from me, but I could tell.
Charlie, that's all in the past.
I've been feeling sick, like before. I couldn't tell Mom. The cancer's back. I know it.
You don't have cancer, Charlie.
How do you know?
Because we found your jacket on the train. It had some blood on it from your cut. We tested it. Your T-cell count is fine.
Are you sure?
Positive. You're gonna be okay.
Charlie?
A happy ending in the middle of all that tragedy. Must have felt good.
Yeah, it did.
Wow, you're so convincing. You know, there's still one thing I don't understand. Why you found it so necessary to find that boy.
Oh. He and his mom had already been through so much. And all they had was each other.
That's a very special bond.
To love someone so unconditionally and to know that they love you back.
Must have made you think about your own life.
So is this the part where I admit to you how I go home to an empty apartment every night? No family, no pets, I don't have a plant.
Well, life's an awful lot simpler if you only have yourself to worry about.
Maybe life's not supposed to be that simple.
Do you regret the choices that you made?
We didn't even name him. After he died, we just pretended he never existed.
Don't you think you're being too hard on yourself?
It shouldn't be that easy to just check my feelings at the door.
What are you really afraid of?
What if I'm getting too good at this job?
Being good at your job, that's nothing to feel guilty about.
It's not just the kiss. Ever since it happened, I can't stop thinking about her.
I felt safe talking to him. I haven't felt that way in a long time.
Once you've opened that door, there's no going back.
You can't pick and choose which emotions you're gonna feel. And without the bad ones, you can't appreciate the good. Is that right?
I hope not.
He said, yeah, but what I really wanted was a 12-inch pianist.
I'm glad to see you took something positive away from that day.
There's a plaque on the wall of the morgue as you walk in. It's in Latin. Hic locis est ubi mors gaudet succurrevite.
This is a place where death is happy to help the living.
And here I thought it meant employees must wash their hands.
Being surrounded by death must remind you how valuable life is.
Every day, Howard. Every day.